I predicted my own death, and I survived it. I'll tell you the story. So way back when I was young, probably 5, 6 years old, still in primary school, I have memory of other kids that ask, as like a playful playground chat, you'd ask each other, hey, how old do you think you'll be when you die? And I always said 25 years old, and I'd die in a car crash. And I went all my life still stuck to that same belief that 25 years was my end. And before I turned 25, I sold all my cars. I sold all of them, got rid of them all, so that I couldn't be the one driving the car that takes me out. As I for my transport, I had a motorbike. I'd just ride that everywhere, rain or shine, every day. I'd just dress for the weather, and I'd ride, and that was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah, I fell in love in that year of riding motorbikes. I fell in love with the idea of riding around the world, just traveling, pick up a little bit of cash work, do a couple of days work, get some more gas money, keep on riding on to the next country or the next town or whatever. Because I've never seen the world. I haven't been overseas to travel. I've been to Australia like 3 times, but that doesn't really count. It's not really an overseas experience going there. Australians are definitely different. I'll give them that much. But yeah. So I fell in love with this sort of like long way around kind of dream, riding the motorbike around the world. And then about, what was it? It was Easter Monday. I'd woken up from drinking at a friend's barbecue. I'd fallen asleep on the couch. I woke up at 4 a.m. No one was around. And I thought, screw this, I'm going home. So I got on my bike and I took off riding home. It was about an 8-kilometer journey to get home on home turf. And I was riding fast. The roads were a bit wet. And I vaguely remember this. There was a dog on the road while I was cornering. I was coming around this corner and I saw this bloody dog. So I gave a bit of a swerve, and that was enough to break the traction on my back wheel while I was cornering on the wet road. And so the bike fell down. It fell down, and I went sliding. And the accident investigators, they reckon I was sliding at a good 90 k's an hour. I slid straight into a little parked car, a little hatchback. I slid in there, kind of feet first, sitting up, and my feet went under the back bumper. My face planted the boot of this little hatchback, and the speed and momentum was enough that it carried me on under the vehicle until you could only just see my helmet just below the bumper. I was fully wedged under this little car. And I was out like a light in an instant. I'm told that they had a couple of fire brigade crews out there because the noise of the accident woke up one of the neighbours, who thankfully was actually on the police force, and so he knew the emergency personnel phone numbers to ring up and get the rescue operation underway. And so they extracted me, they helicoptered me off to hospital. They cut me right open and gave me all this surgery to fix all the internal organs. I'd shattered my spleen, which is actually a blood filter and reservoir. So that had just been completely shattered, and all my intestines, like the large or the small intestine or whatever, those were lacerated and bleeding everywhere. My liver was lacerated. I had a brain injury, a real bad brain injury. But anyway, so I was in a coma for 3 days, and the doctors were freaking out. They thought I was brain damaged and gonna be lucky to even wake up from the coma. Every time they woke me up, I would just break into this violent rage of just trying to fight off the doctors from helping me and rip all the cords out of my body. And so they're busy telling my family, prepare for the worst. This kid's a write-off. But eventually they managed to get me to come out of the coma and be stable, and not be freaking out. They had me on massive doses of ketamine for that. And yeah, so I slowly retained my sense of normalcy. I spent weeks in hospital, and then I had to go off to a brain injury rehab facility and live there for a few weeks. And then I finally got out of hospital, and you know when? I got out of hospital and home to my parents 1 week before my 26th birthday. And so that was crazy, a friend came to me in the weeks following and told me this story that they'd been at a party. Erica, if you're watching this, hi. They'd been at a party and they met this psychic medium who was telling them this story about how just the night before she'd had a dream where she was helping people cross over into the afterlife, and there was this motorcyclist called Niki who just flat out refused to cross over and just said, I'm not ready yet. I've still got shit to do. And there was nothing they could do to convince this motorcyclist called Niki to cross over into the afterlife. And so my friend Erica was being told this story while she was at a party. But she had no idea that I was, at that very minute, in a coma in the hospital. So she didn't quite take the story fully seriously until much later, when she found out the condition I was in and realized that, hey, that story was about me. So it was pretty crazy, I spent all my life saying I was going to die at 25 in this car crash. I sold all my cars and got a motorbike, and then I fell off my motorbike and slid into a parked car, which nearly killed me. And then I got to the thing where I was supposed to cross over into the afterlife, and I just decided that I wasn't ready for it yet. I still wanted to ride around the world explore the world on the motorbike. So it was pretty crazy. And, I had a hell of a brain injury, and the recovery was and is still a long and hard road. At the time, the only thing going through my head was, I need to get back to work. These customers are relying on me to fix their stuff. And so I was putting all my energy into healing and getting better. And I freaked out as well while I was in hospital. I freaked out because I thought there was nothing wrong with me. I refused to believe that I had these life-threatening injuries and that I couldn't just go back to work because my injured brain couldn't process this shit properly. So I freaked out and decided that the doctors were lying to me and part of some New World Order conspiracy or some shit to try and, I don't know, go all like Matrix mode on me and have me living in a vegetative state. So I decided that I wasn't going to take any of their medicine because obviously these bad people were trying to feed me bad medicine. And so I just started saying, no, I'm not in pain. You can't make me take those pills. And I just grit my teeth and bared through it. And it took like 3 days before I could even comfortably get out of that hospital bed and go to the toilet. Because there was no painkillers, nothing. I was refusing to take any medicine. Because I was freaked out that the doctors were trying to brainwash me. It was crazy, but hey, at least I didn't end up with like an opiate addiction out of it. And in the years following, sure, I've had a lot of little triumphs, but as a whole, life has really gone downhill. My emotional well-being or my mental health has been fragile at best. Because I have all these memories of what I was like before the crash. I was fun. I would be the life of the party. People really enjoyed having me around. And then after this brain injury, I get confused too easily. I have breakdowns really easily. I'm not particularly great to hang out with. And so, I can't make myself not have a brain-injured brain. So it depresses me when I reflect on who I once was versus who I've become. And so it's, I'm nearly 32 years old now. I said I was going to die at 25, and then I did, and I chose not to cross over into the afterlife. And so we're what? Nearly 7 years into it, of this bonus life that I never planned on having. I'd never made long-term plans in my life because I was expecting to just die at 25. And I don't know, it's been hard. There's been a lot of trauma, a lot of heartbreak. And I've done my best to get through it, to just keep on believing in a better tomorrow, that it's coming. But I don't know. I feel a lot of the time I feel like I'm just continuously going downhill, backwards, getting worse. And the hard part about it all has been that the head injury, the brain, the trauma to my brain. It triggered the awakening of the latent psychic abilities that humans possess. I'll have premonitions about mundane things in life that are incredibly accurate. And the worst one though is that I sort of hear in my brain when people are gossiping about me. That's the shittiest one. The realization came to me not long after I got my house. I was out in the garden. I had my Bluetooth earmuffs on even. I was out in the garden, and I just I hear something in my brain. I hear a guy going, "Whoa, sick mullet," and I instinctively just went like that. And then I hear again. I hear it, and because I've got my Bluetooth earmuffs on, listening to music, so I shouldn't be able to hear anything. But I hear the guy saying, "Whoa, he heard you. How did he do that?" And it was like a big deal. And I realized the comments I was hearing were coming from people in a house up across the valley, a good 200 or 300 meters away. I shouldn't be able to hear them even without my earmuffs on. There's no chance of me hearing them. The distance is too great. And in that moment, I thought about smiling at them and just tapping my temples to answer their question, but something inside me told me that was a bad idea. I shouldn't reveal the secret. But God, I don't know, because maybe they'll bully me about it. Well, this is New Zealand. We are a country of bullies. If someone is different, they get the full force of it, and it's a hard life being different. in New Zealand. Let me tell you that much. So I don't know. I don't even know why I'm recording this video. I guess I just want to put a little bit of my story out there on the YouTube so that, I don't know, there can be something. But yeah, the telepathic thing, I never wanted to gain this ability or even learn that humans were possible of it. But it's quite common in trauma survivors. And it's annoying though, because like it's a double-edged sword. Like you survive some trauma, so here's some latent telepathic ability so that you can hear other people shit talking you that aren't even anywhere near you at the time, just to compound that trauma and make it even more bad, even more gonna keep you up at night, struggling to figure out what you ever did wrong against these people. And the crime is simply being different and having, I've got emotions that go 0 to 100, and I've had many breakdowns over these few years, and I've tried doing things to change my life. I went sober for a while, and then COVID happened, so I got back into drinking during the lockdowns. And I've gone sober again recently. I've been sober about a month now. And I've just, the worst part is, even despite everything I've overcome, I still meet people that just want to cut me down. They want to cut me down and see me fail. And, I try to help people. I try to be nice and kind to people and respectful to people, but, occasionally things I say get taken the wrong way because I'm too retarded to realize the impacts of some things. I feel like that autism shit, and I've got the bipolar disorder, and I've got the brain injury, and the ADHD, and I'm a Gemini, that's probably a mental illness too. So I don't know. Anyway, that's how I predicted my own death, and then decided not to die. And a brief touching of what I've experienced in the years since that fateful Easter Monday in 2017.